Welcome to the garage. Let's take a closer look at the French Tier 6 heavy tank, the ARL-44. First off, let's compare this tank to other vehicles of this tier. It is relatively slow and has limited roles in combat. However, due to its advantages, like high accuracy and high penetration, this tank is the most dangerous Tier 6 opponent for higher tier tanks. The glacis plate on this tank is 120mm thick and is inclined at an angle of 45 degrees, which means 170mm of effective armor thickness or more if you set your tank hull at a proper angle. But its weak point is the machine gun. Its armor thickness is only 50mm thick, the same for the hull nose, but it's positioned at an angle that prevents it from being penetrated easily. The stock turret's frontal armor is 100mm thick. The upgrade is 110mm. It is relatively small and has a massive mantle. We covered some of the pros, let's take a look at the cons. First off, the turret armor thickness of the sides and rear is only 30mm thick. This is the biggest weakness of the vehicle, especially when hit by high explosive rounds. Another drawback is the way the track is positioned, exposing the lower side hull. The armor thickness of the region is 60mm or just 50mm thick at the hatches. However, the hull sides are protected by 10mm spaced armor, which partially cover the front rollers. It may be small, but it's something. The effective armor thickness for side elevation and tail shots is still only 50mm at the rear. Additionally, an enemy shell hitting a track near the front can also damage the hull. If these protruding tracks are hit on their front edge from the side, no damage should be inflicted. Unfortunately, your internal modules are located where they can be damaged by enemy shells quite easily. For example, penetrating a rear corner of the tank can damage its fuel tanks, while hitting a front corner means likely damage to your ammunition stowage. The engine sits in the rear center of the hull, so attacks from the rear may cause critical damage or trigger a fire. Unfortunately, the speed and maneuverability of the ARL-44 is not very good. Its weak engine combined with its heavy load keeps you from reaching high speeds. Its speed limit is 37 kilometers an hour. The ARL-44 main gun is unique among similar tanks of the same tier. First, its penetration potential on AP rounds is 240mm. There are no other Tier 6 tanks with this level of armor penetration. This gives you a substantial advantage. Your ARL-44 is on equal footing against higher tier tanks. However, there are some drawbacks to this gun. The vehicle has the longest aiming time of its peers. If you change your turret direction immediately after you shoot, you will have to wait even longer after the gun has reloaded to finish aiming. Considering the low speed of this tank, it doesn't perform well when battles move quickly and a lot of mobility is required. Due to this long aiming time, you won't be able to track the enemy well. The good accuracy of your gun helps compensate for its poor aiming time. Its accuracy is 38 centimeters for every 100 meters of range to the target. If you fight against higher tier heavy tanks, the main thing to remember is your penetration. This is the best feature of the ARL-44. In fact, this is the only Tier 6 tank that can hold off monsters like the King Tiger, IS-3, or T-32. Its high penetration allows you to aim at these vehicles' weak points and inflict solid damage. The ARL-44 is like a very experienced marksman who aims slowly and carefully, and as a result, hits his target on the first try every time. The main thing is to consider all the pros and cons properly, and then make wise decisions. The ARL-44 is a very worthy French heavy tank, and in the right hands, brings devastating firepower to the battlefield.